Do you trust our government, the United States government? Do you trust it? Do you? You think they're straight with us? I don't know. I actually know that they haven't been straight with us. Let's face it. You name the event, the major historical event, they hold stuff back. They don't think we can handle the truth, perhaps. Do we know everything that happened related to September 11th, 2001? Do we? What about the origins of COVID? Why do they hold so much back from us? And they're holding something back. This caught my attention recently. The 2017 mass shooting in Las Vegas. This was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. 60 people killed, hundreds wounded, and we don't know a damn thing. They won't tell us a damn thing about the motive of the shooter. Again, largest mass shooting in U.S. history. 60 killed, hundreds wounded. It occurred at that annual music festival in Las Vegas. The gunman, we are told, is Stephen Paddock, a 64-year-old mysterious fellow. However, in recent weeks, it's come to light that some of his friends knew he planned to shoot people, and they told him not to. Did the FBI know that ahead of time? The FBI seems to get tipped off about a lot of things. They were on their way to see Lee Harvey Oswald in the lead up to the Kennedy assassination. They just never got around to it. They never got around to following up with all those flight schools with the instructors telling them about these weirdos who only wanted to learn how to take off and not so much how to land. Did they know something? Do they know something? I know they don't trust us, and we have to find out. I mean, this is our information. They work for us, and they don't seem to understand that. And you know who's on to this or has questions? Elon Musk. A Twitter thread recently raising all kinds of, hey, why don't we know by now what was going on in Stephen Paddock's head? It's very, very odd. A lot of odd things. They won't share with us the information. Audrey Hale, the shooter, we're told, in the Covenant School shooting in Nashville. A radical transgender individual, it has been reported, left behind a massive manifesto outlining motivations and a lot of other things. We can't see it. They won't let us see it. And the FBI seems to have figured out what happened at the White House yesterday real quick. So this guy rammed the barricade near the White House. He told authorities his plan was to take over the White House and possibly kill President Biden. Here is the suspect in custody at this moment. And about 5 minutes later, they said he was a neo-Nazi and took a flag out of they said was in the truck and put it on the ground and photographed it. I mean, minutes, seconds later, they were talking about this guy's motives. And in other cases, it takes years, weeks, years, months. We don't find out. Why is that? Very odd, as Elon Musk might say. And Elon Musk, speaking of, is doing something a bit unusual tomorrow. Take a look.
We'll be interviewing Ron DeSantis, and he has quite an announcement to make. And it'll be the first time that something like this is happening on social media and with real-time questions and answers, not scripted. So it's going to be live, and let her rip.
Let it rip. Ron DeSantis is declaring for president tomorrow in an interview with Elon Musk. That's a little, well, that's never been done before. Why does Ron need to be accompanied by the richest man in the world at his presidential announcement? This is very non-standard. More from Elon Musk, I guess.
My preference, and I think would be the preference of most Americans, is really to have someone fairly normal in office. I think we'd all be quite happy with that, actually. You know, I think someone that is representative of the moderate views that I think most of the country holds in reality.
Moderate views. I'll get to those in a moment. Sounds good, but what does it actually mean? One other observation from Elon Musk, who apparently is the MC of the Ron DeSantis presidential campaign.
The way things are set up is that we do have a system that seems to push things towards the edges because of the primaries. So in order to win the primary, you've got to win, obviously, majority of your party's vote. In both cases, that tends to cause a swing to the left and the right.
You know, I consider myself MAGA, Make America Great Again. I don't consider myself an extremist. Do you, if you're MAGA? What do we want? We want strong borders, okay? We want to know who's coming into the country. We don't like wars that never end and that we lose in the end. We don't like overregulation. We prefer lower taxes. And this transgender mess, I mean, not wanting to have drag queens in the schools with the kids, is that somehow not moderate? Is this somehow MAGA? Is this somehow extremist? Fine, if you want to call us that, you can. They're labeling us that. You know, I like Elon Musk. Easy for him to say, perhaps. If you think, if anybody tries to tell you that the MAGA agenda is too extreme, I tell them to watch the Mount Rushmore July 4th speech from Donald Trump. This is a message, quite frankly, if you listen to it, I know some people don't like Donald Trump, but if you listen to it, it's a message that could win 50 states. Really. Who could be for open borders? Who could be for these drag queens hanging around? I don't know. I think it works totally for America. All right, so Ron is entering in with the same kind of excitement and expectation we saw around another Floridian, Jeb Bush. Remember him? All the donors liked him. All the insiders liked Jeb. Now it's Ron's turn, and I think it might be. The most exciting thing about Jeb's campaign was the exclamation point. I'm not sure if Ron's going to be pulling that off. I mean, look at all the members of the Florida delegation who went for Trump so far. Ron DeSantis with Elon Musk tomorrow. Who's going to be in charge of that arrangement? Who's going to be the heavyweight in the room? Is it Ron DeSantis or is it Elon Musk? I kind of feel like with Elon there, Ron may feel like he works for him. You know who runs the Republican Party, aside from MAGA and Trump? The donors. The donors. They always talk about these donors.
So many donors out there and others who have high hopes for a Trump alternative.
The donors that have flocked to him right now.
What the donors want is not what the grassroots want. Donors are thinking more about electability. We want to win. We want to take back the White House.
The donors, huh? The donors are calling the shots. I thought that everybody could only give a maximum of like $5,000. Maximum. These rich donors, they write seven-figure checks to the PACs, to the Political Action Committee, which is the same thing. One of the many refreshing things about Donald Trump, all the way back in 2015, 2016, he funded his own primary. Yes, the fake news will say, well, wait a second. Actually, technically, in some ways, no. He wrote big checks to his own campaign. And I don't know, he didn't need a billionaire when he declared for president by his side. He's the billionaire. Ron DeSantis owes his entire political identity to Donald Trump.
Everyone knows my husband, Ron DeSantis, is endorsed by President Trump, but he's also an amazing dad. Ron loves playing with the kids.
Build the wall.
He reads stories.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
I just thought you should know.
Ron DeSantis for governor.
Wow. Yeah, that's the Trump agenda, all right. And he's adopting it. Look, we like the policies, fine. But there's something else about President Trump that the mainstream media, they don't understand. Trump, in many ways, is a far more traditional president than the presidents we've had this century so far. What do I mean by that? I call it the 10-year test. Take a look at any president in the 20th century, most of them. What were they doing 10 years prior to actually becoming president? They were doing something very big, and most of them were already famous. Let's go all the way back to Eisenhower, all right? When he is sworn in, 10 years before the big day, he was the supreme Allied commander and household name famous. The next president was Kennedy. 10 years earlier, now he was a congressman, kind of like DeSantis. However, he was a war hero and nationally famous. Had already written a major bestseller, not like those bestsellers we have today. One of those bestsellers that everybody actually read. Richard Nixon. When he became president in 1969, 10 years earlier, he was vice president of the United States. And it goes on like this. Lyndon Johnson, 10 years before he got the big job, Democrat leader, in the United States Senate, Ronald Reagan. Everybody knew Ronald Reagan for decades. 10 years prior, he was the governor of California. And then, folks, things started to change. In the 20th century, 10 years before George W. Bush became president, he was a part owner of the Texas Rangers, all right? He was not on anybody's list to be president. Barack Obama, 10 years before he became president, state senator, nobody. All right, so Donald Trump. This goes back to the model of the 20th century. 10 years before for the big day, well, he was internationally famous, building buildings all over the place. 20 years before the big day. Go back and back and back. In the 90s, in the 80s, people knew who he was, and they were actually talking about him running for president before he was even old enough to be president. And I think it's an interesting comparison to put Donald Trump in the 1980s up against Ron DeSantis in the 1980s. What was Ron doing? He was doing what kids are supposed to be doing. No harm there, but you see what's happening here, right? You see the depth and breadth of experience of the one guy who's already been president. The age factor, I think, actually works in Donald Trump's favor. He's made his money. If Ron DeSantis becomes president, he's going to be spending most of his life not as president. He's got to worry. He's designed to worry. We all are about wife, children, family first. Is he really able to put the country first? And I'm sorry, what's it going to look like when he walks into the room and Putin's waiting for him? Is he ready for Putin? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, the fake news trips him up all the time. Putin? All right. We do have this, though, and this is possibly why so many other Republicans want to get in the race. Wall Street Journal, special counsel is wrapping up Trump Mar-a-Lago probe. That's all the documents, the boxes hoax, as it's called. Some of Trump's close associates are bracing for his indictment. However, there's this. The Journal could not determine whether Smith, the special prosecutor, has decided whether to charge Trump. So it may not happen, but I think some Republicans out there want it to happen, and that's why they're getting in the race. We'll see.